Jay walked slowly through the wide hallway of Interstellar Academy. Her plain brown backpack hung from one shoulder. All around her, aliens of different shapes, sizes, and colors moved quickly. Some had blue skin. Others had 4 arms. A few even floated above the ground instead of walking. Jay was the only human in sight. "Watch where you're going, Dirtwalker," said Da, bumping into her on purpose. His orange eyes narrowed. 2 of his friends laughed behind him. Jay said nothing. She picked up the book that had fallen from her hand and kept walking. Her face showed no anger, just tired patience. The year was 2287. Humans were now part of a big space community with many alien races. Most aliens thought humans were weak, slow, and not very smart. At Interstellar Academy, the top school for young people from all planets, only 5 students were human out of 3,000. Jay reached her first class, Advanced Stellar Navigation, and sat in the back row. The teacher, Mr. Jin, was explaining complex space routes using a 3D map that hung in the air. His 6-fingered hands moved through the light display, changing stars and paths with quick touches. Now, who can calculate the fastest route from the Centauri system to Proxima Delta, accounting for the gravity wells and radiation belts? Mr. Jin asked. Several alien students raised their hands or tentacles. Da, sitting in the front row, was first to answer. The optimal path requires 17 jumps with a total distance of 34.7 light-years, Da said without needing to think or use any tools. His species could do complex math in their heads. "Excellent, Da," said Mr. Jin. "Humans would need computers for such calculations, of course." The class laughed. Someone threw a small paper ball at Jay's head. Jay could have answered correctly. She could have explained that Day's route was actually not the best one. There was a shortcut through the Veil Nebula that would save 2 jumps. But she stayed quiet, her eyes focused on her desk. No one in this school knew who she really was. Later, in the lunchroom, Jay sat alone. She ate her simple meal while reading from an old-fashioned paper book. Most students used brain-link devices to read, but Jay preferred the feel of real pages. "Look at the human using ancient technology," said Min, one of Da's friends, walking past. "Maybe next she'll make a fire with sticks." More laughter. Jay kept reading. What none of them knew, what no one alive except for a very few old beings knew, was that Jay was not a normal 16-year-old girl. The book she read was not in simple Earth language as it appeared. The pages showed battle plans from a war fought 300 years ago. Jay was much, much older than she looked. That night, in her small dorm room, Jay locked the door and stood before her mirror. She touched a spot behind her ear, and her young face seemed to flicker. For just a moment, her eyes showed the weight of centuries. From a hidden drawer under her bed, she took out a small metal box. Inside was a medal with strange writing. It read, in a language no longer spoken, "To the Shadow Commander, who brought freedom to 1,000 worlds." Jay had been there when the cruel Stellar Concordat fell. She had led the final battle. She had faced the Supreme Architect himself and watched as his empire of pain crumbled. Billions of beings gained their freedom because of her plans, her courage, her leadership. Now she was just a student, pretending to be young and inexperienced, hiding among those who looked down on her kind. Another day, she whispered to herself, putting the medal away. Another day of being underestimated. She smiled slightly. Being underestimated had always been her greatest weapon. "Today, we study the fall of the Stellar Concordat," said Professor Sue as he dimmed the lights in the classroom. Jay sat up straighter in her seat. Around her, students shifted in their chairs, some bored, others curious. This was Galactic history class, usually dull, but today's topic made Jay's heart beat faster. A large 3D image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a massive space battle. Hundreds of ships fired at each other against the backdrop of a red giant star. "The Battle of Crimson Gate," said Professor Sue. "The final conflict that ended the Stellar Concordat's 300-year rule." Jay's eyes fixed on one small ship in the display. The others couldn't see it clearly, but she knew every detail of that vessel. She had commanded it. The resistance was led by a figure known only as the Shadow Commander, continued Professor Sue. Some believe this was not one person but a group of military experts working together. Day raised his hand. Could the Shadow Commander have been human? He asked with a small laugh. The class erupted in giggles. Even Professor Sue smiled. Unlikely, he said. The tactical brilliance shown at Crimson Gate required mental processing beyond human capabilities. Most historians believe the Shadow Commander was a collective of Arcturian strategists. Jay bit her lip to keep from speaking. She remembered standing on the bridge of her ship, giving orders as enemy fire exploded around her. She remembered the moment she saw the weakness in the Concordat's defense pattern. She remembered taking the chance that won the war. No computers, no alien help, just her human mind seeing what no one else could see. The Shadow Commander disappeared after the war, said Professor Sue. Some say they were killed. Others believe they went into hiding. If they were so smart, why hide? Asked Min from the front row. Jay almost spoke, then caught herself. She knew why. After victory came politics. New powers rose. Old allies became new enemies. And some people never stopped hunting for the one who knew too many secrets. After class, Di blocked Jay's path in the hallway. Did you enjoy the history lesson, Dirtwalker? He asked. Does it make you sad that humans contributed nothing to the fall of the Concordat? Ja looked at him calmly. History is not always what we think it is. What would you know? Di laughed. Your species was barely spacefaring when the real powers were fighting for freedom. Jay walked away. In her mind flashed memories of planning sessions, of rallying troops from 100 worlds, of facing the Supreme Architect in his palace as his guards fled. Asterisk, if only you knew asterisk, she thought. That evening, Jay went to the quiet corner of the school garden. No one else came near, perfect for what she needed to do. She touched her bracelet and whispered, "Secure line, authorization Shadow One." The air before her shimmered. An old alien face appeared. His skin was gray and wrinkled. His 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Commander," he said, "it's been 10 years since your last check-in." "Hello, Cree," said Ja. "I need information. Someone's been asking about Crimson Gate, specifically about me." Cree looked worried. The old enemies stir again. There are rumors that the Architect's followers have found something. A weapon, perhaps. "Unsafe here," said Ja. No one would look for the Shadow Commander in a school, disguised as a human teenager. "Be careful," said Cree. "The new head of the followers is smarter than the rest. Some say he's the Architect's own son." Jay's blood went cold. She had killed the Architect, but never found his family. "I'll be careful," she said. Shadow out. The image disappeared. Jai stood alone in the garden, thinking. After 300 years, her past was catching up to her. And no one around her, not the bullies, not the teachers who pitied her, had any idea of the storm that was coming, or that the human girl they mocked would be at its center once again. The next morning, something different happened at Interstellar Academy. Important visitors were coming. All students stood in neat lines in the main hall. Jay tried to stay in the back, behind taller aliens. "Attention, students," said Headmaster Sue. "Today we welcome representatives from the Seven Systems Alliance." Jay froze. The Seven Systems Alliance was the government that formed after the fall of the Concordat. She helped create it. 5 officials walked into the hall. They wore dark blue uniforms with gold symbols. 4 were aliens of different species. The 5th was human, an old man with white hair and a straight back. Jay knew him. Admiral Han. He had been a young captain when she last saw him over 60 years ago. As the officials passed by the students, Admiral Han's eyes moved across the crowd. When he saw Jay, he stopped for just a second. His eyes widened slightly. Then he kept walking as if nothing had happened. Dan noticed. He looked at Ja with new curiosity. Why did that human admiral look at you? He asked after the ceremony. I don't know what you mean, said Jay. Don't lie, said Da. He recognized you. How would a dirt walker like you know a high admiral? Leave me alone, said Jai, walking away quickly. That night, Jay couldn't sleep. She knew Han would try to find her. And he did. A soft knock came at her door just after midnight. Jay opened it to find Admiral Han standing there. May I come in? He asked. Jay checked the hallway, then let him in. Commander, he said quietly. It's really you. Don't call me that, said Jay. I'm just a student now. Han shook his head. You can pretend all you want, but we need you. The old enemy is back. The Concordat fell 300 years ago, said Jay. Not all of it, said Han. The architect's son, Tai, has gathered followers. They have found old Concordat technology, weapons we thought were destroyed. Jay sat on her bed. I'm not that person anymore, Han. I've lived many lives since then. But you're still human, said Han. Still the same person who saw patterns no one else could see, who saved us all. Jay touched her bracelet. I paid a high price for that victory. Do you know what it's like to live for centuries? To watch everyone you know grow old and die? Han's eyes showed sadness. I can't imagine. But I know what will happen if Tay succeeds. The Concordat will rise again. Billions will suffer. Before Jay could answer, another knock came at the door. Jai signaled Han to hide in the bathroom. She opened the door. Day stood there with 2 school guards. I told you something was strange about her, he said to the guards. She has an admiral visiting her room at night. That breaks school rules. The guards looked past Jai. Is someone here with you, student? Jay thought quickly. No, I was just studying. Let us check, said one guard, pushing past her. They found nothing. Han had somehow slipped away. Sorry for the trouble, said the guard to Da. There's no one here. After they left, Jay found a small note on her desk. It read, Tomorrow, Garden, midnight. The galaxy needs you one more time. The next day, Dai watched Jai closely in every class. He knew something was different about her now. During lunch, he and his friends sat at her table. I know you're hiding something, said Dai. And I'm going to find out what it is. Jai looked at him calmly. Be careful what you look for, Dai. Some secrets are dangerous. Are you threatening me? Dai laughed. A weak human threatening me. Jay stood up. Not a threat. A warning. For your own good. As she walked away, Dai called after her. No human tells me what to do. Jay kept walking. Tonight she would meet Han. And she would have to decide. Stay hidden and safe, or become the Shadow Commander once more. Combat Training Day arrived at the Academy. All students went to the large simulation room. Here, they would face fake battles in a safe way. The room used light technology to create enemies and dangers that felt real but couldn't hurt anyone. Today's test is simple, said Teacher Jin. Each student must defeat 5 enemy soldiers and reach the endpoint. Day smiled at Jai. This should be fun to watch. Humans are so slow. Jay said nothing. She knew she should perform poorly. That was her plan. Stay hidden, seem weak, never show her true skills. Students went in one by one. Most did well. Dad was very fast, beating all enemies in under 2 minutes. Then it was Jay's turn. She stepped into the simulation room. The walls changed to show a battlefield. 5 light soldiers appeared, holding weapons. Jay moved slowly, as a normal human student would. She dodged the first soldier, then the second. In the control room, Dai whispered to Min. I made some changes to her program. Watch this. Suddenly, the light soldiers changed. They grew bigger, faster. Their weapons looked different. And there were now 10 of them, not 5. What's happening? Asked Teacher Jin, looking at his control screen. This isn't the right program. Inside the simulation, Jay noticed the change right away. These weren't normal training enemies. These were Concordat elite guards, the most dangerous soldiers from the old empire. And they were set to deadly levels. "Shut it down," yelled Teacher Jin. But nothing happened. One of the elite guards fired at Ja. She should have dodged slowly, pretending to be an average student. But her body remembered 300 years of battle. She moved with incredible speed, rolling under the shot. Everyone watching gasped. How did she move so fast? Someone asked. The elite guards surrounded Ja. In this moment, she had to choose: keep pretending and possibly get hurt, or show her true abilities. A guard fired at her head. Ja caught the light weapon in midair and turned it on its owner. She moved like water, flowing between the guards, taking them down one by one with perfect strikes. In 30 seconds, all 10 elite guards were defeated. Jai stood in the center, not even breathing hard. The simulation ended. The room went back to normal. Everyone stared at Jai in complete silence. "That's impossible," said Da. "No human can fight like that." Teacher Jin looked at Ja with new eyes. "Where did you learn those moves?" I got lucky," said Jai, knowing no one would believe her. That afternoon, Jay sat alone in the garden. She heard footsteps and looked up. Daz stood there, without his friends for once. "Who are you really?" he asked. His voice wasn't mean now. It was confused. "Just a student," said Jai. "No," said Da. "I checked the records. Those were Concordat elite guards in that simulation. They died out 300 years ago. No one has seen them since the war. How did you know how to fight them so perfectly?" Jay was quiet for a moment. "Some things are better left unknown. Da." "I saw your face in there," said Da. "When you were fighting. You've done this before." "Many times." Before Jay could answer, an alarm sounded across the academy. Red lights flashed on all buildings. Warning: unidentified ship approaching. All students returned to dormitories immediately. Jay stood up quickly. She knew what this meant. "They found me," she whispered. "Who found you?" asked Da. Ja looked at him. For the first time, she spoke to him honestly. "The son of the man I killed 300 years ago." Day's eyes widened. "What?" "Go to your room, Da," said Ja. Her voice changed. It was stronger, deeper, more commanding. "What's coming next is not something you want to be part of." As Dai watched, Jay seemed to stand taller. Something about her had changed. The mask of the simple human girl was slipping away, revealing someone much more dangerous underneath. A large ship landed on the academy grounds. It was black with red markings. Students watched from windows as a group of 10 people walked out. They wore fancy uniforms that no one recognized. Headmaster Su and the teachers met the visitors at the main entrance. Jai watched from a hidden spot behind a column. "Welcome to Interstellar Academy," said Headmaster Su. "We did not expect visitors today." A tall man stepped forward. He had pale skin and black hair with a streak of white. His eyes were dark and cold. "I am Commander Tai," he said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "We are here for a cultural exchange, to learn about your fine school." Jay's breath caught in her throat. Ta, the architect's son. She would know that face anywhere. He looked just like his father. "Of course," said Headmaster Su. "We welcome all official visitors. Please follow me." As they walked inside, Tai's eyes moved across the hall. For a second, they seemed to find Jay's hiding spot. She ducked away quickly. Jay hurried to her room. She had to contact Han. Before she could use her bracelet, there was a knock at her door. It was Da. "The visitors are asking about all human students," he said, looking worried. "They claim it's for cultural exchange, but they seem very interested in you specifically." "How do you know this?" asked Jai. "I listened outside the headmaster's office," said Da. "I'm not sure why I'm telling you this, but something feels wrong about them." Jay nodded. "Thank you." "You still owe me an explanation," said Da. About the simulation. About what you said earlier. Later, said Jay, if we both survive this. That night, Jay met Han in the garden as planned. She told him about Tay's arrival. This is worse than we thought, said Han. He's moving faster than expected. We need to get you off planet now. No, said Jay. If I run, he'll know it's me. He might hurt the students to draw me out. Then what do you suggest, Commander? Asked Han. Jay thought for a moment. We need to find out what he knows and what he wants. I'll stay close, watch him. That's too dangerous, said Han. I faced worse, said Jay. Much worse. The next day, Commander Ta gave a talk to all students. He spoke about peace and cooperation between different species, but his eyes kept moving to the human students in the crowd. The future belongs to those who understand power, said Ta. True power comes from knowing the past and using its lessons. After the talk, Ta and his people walked around the school. They looked at everything, asked many questions. When they passed Jai in a hallway, Ta stopped. A human student, he said with interest. How unusual. What's your name? Jai, she said, keeping her eyes down. Jai, he repeated. A simple name. But sometimes simple things hide great complexity. Tay reached out and touched Jay's bracelet. Interesting design. Very old. Jay pulled her arm back. Excuse me, sir. I have class. As she walked away, she felt Ta's eyes on her back. Later, Day found Jai in the library. That man, Tai, was asking about you, said Da. He offered me special access to his ship's technology if I told him about you. Jia looked up sharply. What did you tell him? Nothing, said Da. Yet. But I want to know the truth. Who are you really? And why is he looking for you? Jay closed her book. She looked around to make sure no one could hear. If I show you something, you must promise to tell no one, she said. Day nodded. Jay touched her bracelet, and a small hologram appeared between them. It showed a younger version of Jai in a military uniform, standing on a ship's bridge. This was me, she said quietly. 300 years ago. Day's eyes widened. That's impossible. Not impossible, said Jai. Just very, very secret. Day stared at the hologram showing Jai in a military uniform. You're saying you're over 300 years old? He asked. His voice was quiet with shock. Yes, said Jai. She turned off the hologram. I was born in 1984, Earth time. But how? Humans don't live that long. I was part of an experiment during the early space wars, said Jai. It worked too well. I stopped aging. I've lived many lives since then. Day sat down, trying to understand. The Shadow Commander, it was you. Jay nodded. I led the final attack against the stellar Concordat. I killed the architect with my own hands. And now his son is here, looking for you, said Da. He looked at Jia with new eyes. Not with hate or with pity, but with wonder. I need your help, said Jia. Tai must not find out who I am. Too many lives are at risk. Why should I help you? Asked Da, but his voice wasn't me now. Because the Concordat was cruel to your people too, said Jia. If Ta brings it back, everyone suffers. That night, Jay snuck out of her room. She wore dark clothes and moved like a shadow through the academy grounds. She reached the landing field where Ta's ship sat. Han was waiting for her, with 3 other people Jay didn't know. Who are they? Asked Jia. Old friends, said Han. What's left of your command team? An older woman stepped forward. She had gray hair and kind eyes. General Kree sent us. We've been watching Ta for years. What's he planning? Asked Jia. He found old Concordat weapon plans, said the woman. Something called the Mind Breaker. It can control whole planets. I destroyed those plans, said Jay, frowning. Not all of them, said Han. And Tai has new technology too. He needs just one more thing. What? Asked Jia. The key codes stored in your memory, said Han. The ones you used to shut down the Concordat defense systems. Jay touched her head. I haven't thought of those in centuries. A noise made them all turn. Someone was coming. Hide, whispered Ja. They all ducked behind some containers. Ta walked past with 2 guards. He was talking. The facial recognition is certain, he said. She's here. The Shadow Commander herself, pretending to be a student. Which one? Asked a guard. The human girl, Ja, said Ta. We take her tomorrow. Prepare the mind scanner. After they passed, Jay looked at Han with worry. He knows, she said. We don't have much time. Back in her room, Jay found Dai waiting for her. Where were you? He asked. Getting information, said Ja. Ta knows who I am. He's coming for me tomorrow. Dai looked scared. What will you do? I need to leave, said Ja. But first, I must destroy his ship. It has weapons that could hurt many people. I can help, said Da. I know about ships. Jay shook her head. Too dangerous. You always did this, didn't you? Said Da. Thought humans were the only ones who could fight. That's why you never asked for help. Jay was surprised. That's not true. Isn't it? Asked Da. You've been alone for centuries, thinking you had to carry this burden by yourself. Jay was quiet for a moment. I've seen too many friends die. Maybe that's why you lost last time, said Da. You tried to do everything alone. His words hit Jay hard. She had been alone for so long. What do you suggest? She asked finally. Let me get my friends, said Da. Min and the others. We know this academy better than anyone. We can help you. Why would they help me? They hate humans. They hate what they don't understand, said Da. Show them who you really are. The Shadow Commander. The person who saved the galaxy once. Jay thought about it. Working with others again. Trusting again. It was scary. But maybe Dai was right. Bring them, she said. But only the ones you trust completely. As Dad left, Jay looked out her window at the stars. For the first time in a very long time, she felt something she had forgotten. Hope. Morning came too soon. Jay woke to the sound of alarms. Red lights flashed through her window. She jumped out of bed, already fully dressed. She had slept in her clothes, ready for trouble. Her door burst open. It was Da with Min and 2 other students. Tai's people are everywhere, said Da. They have weapons. Jay grabbed her bracelet. Did you tell them about me? Min looked at Ja with new respect. Da showed us the hologram. Is it true? You're really her, the Shadow Commander? Yes, said Ja. And now we need to move. Todd will come here first. They ran into the hallway. Other students were there too, looking scared. Teachers tried to keep order. All students to the main hall, a voice said over the speakers. This is Commander Ta. We are taking control of this academy for security reasons. Jay pulled the group into an empty classroom. They're gathering everyone to find me. What do we do? Asked Min. I need to get to Han, said Jay. He's on his ship at the back landing pad. The tunnels, said one of the other students. We use them to sneak out sometimes. They go all over the academy. Jay nodded. Show me. They moved to the back of the classroom. The student, a blue-skinned alien named Rin, pushed on a wall panel. It slid open to show a dark tunnel. It leads to the science building, said Rin. From there, we can reach the back landing pad. As they crawled through the tunnel, they heard noises above. Heavy boots, shouting. Taz soldiers were searching every room. They reached the science building and peeked out. The landing pad was just ahead, but it was guarded by 4 of Ta's people. We need a distraction, said Jay. Min smiled. I'm good at those. He took out a small device from his pocket. School project. Makes a very big bang. Jay looked at him with surprise. You're going to use a bomb. Not a real bomb, said Min. Just light and noise. Enough to scare them. "Oak," said Jai. "But be careful." Min and Rin ran off to place the device. Jide, Da, and the other student waited. A few minutes later, a huge boom came from the other side of the academy. The guards looked that way. Then they ran toward the noise, leaving the landing pad empty. "Now," said Jay. They ran to the pad. Han's ship was there, but it was damaged. Smoke came from one side. "They found it," said Da. "Ta's people must have known about Han." Jay touched her bracelet. "Han, are you there?" No answer. "We need to find another way off planet," said Jay. Just then, a voice came from speakers all over the academy. "Attention students and staff," said Ta. His voice was cold and clear. "We have taken control of this facility. We are looking for one person, the human known as Ja." There was a pause. "She is not who she seems. She is a dangerous criminal. The one known in history as the Shadow Commander." Gasps came from everywhere. Students and teachers listening were shocked. "We have hostages in the main hall," continued Ta. "If Jay does not surrender in 1 hour, we will begin executing one person every 10 minutes. Jay's face went pale. "He's bluffing." "I don't think so," said Da. "I saw them taking people to the hall. Hundreds of students, all the teachers." "To prove I am serious," said Ta's voice, "here is a demonstration." A scream came over the speakers. Then silence. Jo closed her eyes. "This is why I work alone. People get hurt when they're near me." "This isn't your fault," said Da. "Ta is the monster, not you." "I have to give myself up," said Jai. "No," said Da. "That's what he wants. He needs the codes in your head." "I can't let innocent people die," said Jay. Min and Rin returned, out of breath. "They're everywhere," said Min. "But we found something. Han is alive. They're keeping him in the East Building. And we saw where they're keeping their weapons." Ja looked at the 4 young aliens. They were scared but brave. "I've led armies," she said quietly. "Fought in 100 battles. But I've never felt as much pressure as right now." "What's the plan, Commander?" asked Da. For the first time since arriving at the academy, Jay stood tall and straight. Her eyes became sharp and clear. She was no longer pretending to be a simple student. "We're going to save everyone," she said. "And stop Todd once and for all. First, we need to free Han," said Jai. Her voice was different now, strong and sure. "Then we get the hostages." "How?" asked Min. "There are too many guards." Jay smiled. "They expect one human girl, not 5 students working together." She drew a simple map on the floor using a pen. "The East Building has 3 entrances. Guards will be at each one. We need a way in that they don't know about." Rin pointed to a spot on the map. "There's a maintenance shaft that goes under the building. Workers use it to fix pipes." "Perfect," said Jai. "Now listen carefully." She gave each student a job. Dai and Min would create distractions. Rin would guide Jay through the tunnels. The other student, Tam, would watch for guards. They moved quickly through the academy's hidden tunnels. They were dark and dusty, but Rin knew them well. "This way," he whispered, leading them to a small door. "This opens in the supply room of the East Building." Jay checked her bracelet. It was also a watch. 30 minutes left before Ta's deadline. They climbed up into a dark room full of cleaning supplies. Jai pressed her ear to the door. She could hear guards talking outside. "Dai, Min, start your distractions now," she whispered into her bracelet. A few minutes later, loud explosions came from 2 other buildings. Alarms went off. The guards outside the door ran toward the noise. "Now," said Jai. They slipped out of the supply room and into a hallway. It was empty. Tan looked around corners to check for more guards. "Han should be in the security office," said Jai. "This way." They found the office. 2 guards stood outside. Jai picked up a metal pipe from a maintenance cart nearby. "Wait here," she said to the students. She walked around to another hallway that connected to the same area. Then she banged the pipe loudly against the wall several times. The guards heard the noise, and one went to check. As he turned the corner, Jay knocked him out with a quick hit. Before the other guard could call for help, she was behind him, putting him to sleep with a special hold. Clear, she called to the students. They entered the office. Han was there, tied to a chair. His face was bruised, but he smiled when he saw Jay. "Commander," he said as she untied him. "I knew you'd come." "Can you walk?" asked Jay. "Yes," said Han. "But Ta has the main hall sealed, special locks, and 20 guards." "We need weapons," said Da. Han pointed to a cabinet. "Guard weapons in there." Jay opened it and found several stun pistols. She gave one to each person. "These won't kill, just knock people out," she said. "Set them to low power. We don't want to hurt anyone if we can help it." Han looked at the students with surprise. "You're working with them." "They're my team now," said Jay. "And they're braver than many soldiers I've known." They made their way through more tunnels until they reached the area under the main hall. Through a vent, they could see inside. Hundreds of students and teachers sat on the floor, surrounded by Ta's guards. Ta himself stood on a stage. 20 minutes left," said Ta loudly. "Then the first execution." Jay studied the room. She saw the air vents, the doors, the guards' positions. "I have a plan," she said, "but it's risky." "Tell us," said Da. "We need to hit them from 3 sides at once," said Jay. "Han and I will make Ta think I'm surrendering. When his attention is on me, you 4 will come in through different vents and stun the guards from behind." "What if they shoot you first?" asked Min, looking worried. "They won't," said Jay. "Ta needs me alive to get the codes from my mind." "You make it sound simple," said Rin. "The best plans usually are," said Jay. "Ready?" They all nodded. Ja looked at these young aliens who had once mocked her. Now they were risking their lives with her. For her. She felt something she hadn't felt in centuries. Pride. "Let's go save the academy," she said. They moved into position, ready to face danger together. 10 minutes until the first execution. Tay's voice echoed through the hall. The hostages looked scared. Teachers tried to comfort younger students. Joy and Han stood outside the main entrance. Jai had changed her appearance. She now stood tall and confident. Her hair was pulled back to show her face clearly. "Ready?" she asked Han. "Like old times, Commander," he said with a small smile. Jay pressed her bracelet one last time. "Everyone in position." "Ready," came Da's voice. "Ready," said Min. "Ready," said Rin and Tam together. Jade took a deep breath. "Begin in 3 minutes." She and Han walked up to the main door. 2 guards pointed weapons at them. "I am the one called Ja," she said loudly. "I am here to surrender to Commander Ta." The guards looked surprised. One talked into a small device on his wrist. Then the doors opened. Joy and Han were led inside. The large hall was full of students and teachers sitting on the floor. Guards stood around the edges with weapons. Ta was on a stage at the front. When the hostages saw Jai walking in, many gasped. They had heard Ta's announcement about her being the Shadow Commander, but seeing her walk in so bravely made it real. "The famous Shadow Commander," said Ta as Jai was brought before him. His voice was cold. "At last we meet." "Let these people go," said Jai. "Your fight is with me." Ta laughed. "My father said you were direct, before you killed him." "Your father killed millions," said Jai. "I stopped him from killing millions more." Tay's face showed anger now. "My father was building a perfect order. You destroyed it." "Is this perfect order?" asked Ja, pointing to the scared students, threatening children. As they talked, Jay saw small movements near the air vents around the room. Her team was in position. "Enough talk," said Ta. "You have something I need. The shutdown codes for the old Concordat defense systems. With those, I can activate weapons that have been sleeping for centuries." "Why do this?" asked Ja. The war is long over. Not for me, said Ta. I was raised on stories of what you took from us. Our empire, our destiny. As Ta talked, Jay gave a small signal with her hand behind her back. Suddenly, the lights went out. In the darkness, stun blasts came from 3 different places in the room. Guards fell to the ground. What is happening? Shouted Ta. The emergency lights came on. Most of the guards were down. Da, Min, Rin, and Tam stood at different points in the room, holding stun pistols. Ta grabbed Jai and put a weapon to her head. Stay back, or she dies. But Jay was ready. She twisted and broke free of his grip with a move that seemed impossible for a human. In one smooth motion, she took his weapon and pushed him to the ground. It's over, Ta, she said, standing over him. Kill me then, said Ta with hate in his eyes. Like you killed my father. Jay shook her head. No, that's not who I am anymore. You will face justice, not revenge. After Tai was secured, Jay turned to the stunned crowd of students and teachers. They looked at her with awe and fear. I am sorry you were put in danger because of me, she said. I came here seeking peace and quiet. A normal life, if only for a while. Headmaster Su stepped forward. You saved us all. One by one, students stood up. Even those who had once mocked her now showed respect. Day came to stand beside her. What will you do now, Commander? Ja looked around at the academy, at the students watching her. For too long, I've been running from who I am, she said. Maybe it's time to stop running. She turned to Headmaster Su. With your permission, I would like to teach a class here. Real galactic history. The truth about the wars and what they taught us. I think that could be arranged, said the headmaster with a smile. Later, as Alliance ships arrived to take Tai away, Jay stood with her new friends, Da, Min, Rin, and Tam. You know, said Da, I spent months making fun of humans, saying they were weak and simple. And, asked Jai. I've never been so happy to be wrong, said Da. Jay smiled. For the first time in centuries, she felt she was exactly where she belonged.